Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Catch, Hook, and Shoot. It's the weekend of June 17th. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been checking out the show. I really appreciate all the likes and follows and everything. And yeah, hope everybody's following on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Just go to any one of those, search Catch, Hook, Shoot, and you should be able to find our page. Working on getting the podcast distributed to some other outlets, so it's not just on Podbean. It'll be available other places. I'll be putting out more information on that as soon as that's all done. It's in the works right now, so hopefully that'll be coming in the next few days. But I'm going to start off this week talking about some news with Brock Lesnar that's come out in the last few days. Rumors going around, apparently Brock might be making an appearance at UFC 226 coming up in July, and of course there's all kinds of speculation. He's going to be challenging the winner of the Cormier and I forgot the other fighter's name. Sorry, I'm not a big MMA guy, but basically he's going to be challenging the winner for the World Heavyweight Championship for a fight in December. Now, if that's going to happen, he's going to have to get back into the drug testing pool within the next couple of weeks in order to be eligible to fight before the end of the year. So I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. If he, puts himself back in the testing pool, then odds are pretty good. He's going to be looking for an MMA fight sometime in December. Of course, also with that, there's speculation: is he, if he does show up at this UFC event, is he going to have the Universal Championship with him? I think, me personally, I think that'd be kind of a slap in the face to WWE if he showed up there with the belt. But you never know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Another interesting thing going around about Lesnar is he's currently not scheduled for any WWE pay-per-views coming up. Of course, the speculation is that he is supposed to be fighting Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, but that's not official yet. He's not officially scheduled for anything coming up here, and by all accounts his new contract ends in August, so that would put it at SummerSlam. If he is going to have another WWE match, it most likely would be at SummerSlam. So like I said, we'll kind of have to wait and see how that plays out. Definitely going to be a lot of attention on that, and yeah, just have to wait and see what happens. Another announcement that came out actually today: WWE is going to be doing what they're calling a Super Showdown in Australia at a 100,000 seat arena. The only match they've announced so far is Triple H versus Undertaker for what they're calling the final time ever. So those two always put on a good match, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. That's going to be October 6th, which is a Saturday, so I'm sure that's going to be on the network, so I'll definitely be checking that out. I'm sure a lot of people will be checking that out. It's interesting because that's going to be the Undertaker's fourth match this year, which for him is quite a bit. Normally he wrestles at WrestleMania, and that's about it. But this year he's done WrestleMania, he did the Greatest Royal Rumble, he's doing an event at Madison Square Garden coming up, and he's going to be doing this event in Australia. So, yeah, I'm curious to know, is this kind of his farewell tour, or is this going to be the norm? Is he going to be wrestling a little more often now? So, I mean, that's never a bad thing. Of course, I'm sure you guys can tell Undertaker's my absolute favorite, so always excited to see him on TV. So, again, that's something I'm going to be definitely watching pretty closely to see how that plays out. And, yeah, hopefully should be some big matches on this event if they want to fill 100,000 seats. So, we'll see what happens there. But the big news going on this weekend is NXT Takeover Chicago 2. And Money in the Bank pay-per-views. So I'm going to break those down match by match, kind of give my opinions, predictions, and so yeah, let's get started with that. First of all, NXT TakeOver is happening tonight. I'm recording this on Saturday afternoon, so by the time it's posted, it'll be over with, but as I'm recording this, it hasn't happened yet. So, of course, the main event for that tonight is Aleister Black and Lars Sullivan for the NXT Championship. Personally, I'm looking for Aleister Black to retain this one. I mean, unless they're looking to call him up to the main roster soon. That's the only reason I could see him dropping the belt tonight. But Aleister Black, I'm a big fan of his. I love his in-ring style. His promos, I'm not going to say his promos need work. I just think he does too many. I mean, he's got that kind of mysterious, brooding type gimmick, and I think they kind of need to play off that a little bit more. I think he talks a little too much, but he's not a bad talker, so it's kind of working for him right now. Sullivan is just a big, brutal monster, so I think this is going to be a pretty good match between these two. Not looking for a lot of high spots or a lot of flips. This is just going to be an all-out, brutality, just a fight between these two guys. So it's definitely looks to be a very good match. Another big match is for the NXT Women's Championship between Shayna Baszler and Nikki Cross. Talk about a clash of styles. You've got Shayna Baszler, who of course has the MMA style and has just been built up to be like completely unstoppable. But then you've got Nikki Cross, who's just insane and just kind of goes all out and pretty much just goes out to hurt people. So I'm thinking that's going to be a pretty good match. One of the matches I'm thinking is going to steal the show tonight, though, is Ricochet and Velveteen Dream. They've been building this up between them a lot. This is one where you're going to see a lot of those high spots, especially with Ricochet. The guy can do some ridiculous things in the ring and off the ropes. So I'm looking for this one to be kind of the high spot of the whole show. But then again, you've got of course, the Chicago Street Fight with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. And this one, I mean, they stole the show with the last pay-per-view. It was actually the last match of the pay-per-view rather than the NXT title. So I'm thinking they're probably going to do the same thing again. This will probably be the last match of the show. And again, this is probably between this one and Ricochet and Velveteen Dream. One of those two matches is going to be the highlight of the show. It's going to steal the whole show. Gargano and Ciampa always put on a fantastic match. They know each other so well, and they just kind of, it seems like every time they get in the ring together, they kind of take it to another level. So that one to me is the one that I'm looking forward to the most, because it's just going to be a straight up, good hardcore wrestling match. And I don't mean hardcore as in violent. I'm sure it's going to have, the violence, the chair shots. It's a street fight. You're going to have the tables and chairs and all that kind of fun stuff, but it's just going to be just a good, solid wrestling match, kind of a throwback to, I don't know how many of you guys remember the old bunkhouse matches in the old NWA territory days with like Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair and, the Horsemen and things like that. So I'm looking for this to be that kind of style of match, which was always one of my favorite things to watch. So I'm thinking it's going to be very entertaining. And of course, the last match on that card is the NXT Tag Team Championship between the Undisputed Era and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. So again, this will be a good, solid wrestling match. All four of these guys are tremendous in the ring, and I'm thinking the Undisputed Era is probably going to come out retaining the championship. I'm still hoping that they're going to pull the trigger on starting a rivalry with Undisputed Era and British Strong Style, which of course is Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven. Now there is that 6-man match coming up at their UK shows next week, as a matter of fact. So I'm hoping that's going to be like the start of that rivalry, because I think those 6 guys with the Undisputed Era and British Strong Style, I think that's a good, strong rivalry that could go for quite a while if they work it right, and I could definitely see Triple H taking it in that direction. So hopefully that's going to play out coming up next week. We'll see the beginning of it, and hopefully it plays out for quite a while, at least until the next Takeover event, which I would assume would be around SummerSlam. So of course that's the NXT Takeover for tonight. Honestly, I'm looking more forward to Takeover than I am to Money in the Bank. WWE pay-per-views have gotten a little, I guess stale would be the right word. And I talked about it before. I think it's just from oversaturation. I mean, NXT, you get the Takeover events like 4 times a year. So, there's a lot of excitement around them. People look forward to them. There's a lot of build-up. And, it's the really old school way that things were done with the way the pay-per-views were built up over time. So, definitely think NXT is probably going to steal the weekend again, like they typically have been doing for the last several pay-per-views. Money in the Bank does have some really good matches lined up. First of all, of course, the World Heavyweight Championship between Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles. This is, I want to say their third or fourth match. Of course, this one's a last man standing match. So I think this will probably be the big payoff to their rivalry. I don't know how much farther they can continue it or how much further they can go with it. So I'm thinking this is going to be the big payoff match for their rivalry. So I'm looking for them to pretty much pull out all the stops on this. I think this is going to be the match that people were hoping they would have gotten at WrestleMania from AJ and Nakamura. I know a lot of people built it up as a dream match and everything, but there was really not much story behind it. So all of the storytelling had to be done in the ring, and the WrestleMania match kind of acted more as a start to the rivalry rather than a finish. I think the match tonight is going to be the finish. Like I said, it's going to be the big payoff. So I'm looking for this one to pretty much outshine any matches that they've had previously in WWE. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say this match is not going to disappoint. A last man standing match with these two guys. Of course, the big match that is getting a lot of mainstream attention, of course, is Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. I'm still kind of up in the air on this one. I don't know if it's the right time to put Ronda in a title match. I can't see them putting the championship on her in her very first singles match, but I could be wrong. It's not unheard of for a competitor to win a championship their very first time out. I mean, they did it with Gail Kim. Of course, Gail Kim didn't have the most stellar career in WWE, and that's not through any fault of her own. It's just I don't think she was positioned right on the roster. And of course, when her first run in WWE wasn't, both of her runs in WWE, neither one of them was at a time when women's wrestling was getting a whole lot of respect or attention. So, they could put the belt on Ronda right now. I don't think it's the right time, but obviously I'm not the decision maker on that one. But I'm trying to think of a way for both women to come out looking strong in this match. I mean, I don't think they're gonna have Ronda beat Nia, in a dominant fashion if she does beat her. Thinking this one may end in a no decision or no contest or maybe a disqualification, something like that. I mean, neither one is really a heel, so I can't see the disqualification route coming off. So I don't know. This one, it's definitely got me curious. So I'm definitely going to be watching it close. I mean, Ronda showed at WrestleMania that she's definitely capable inside the ring. Nia, of course, is one of the best women on the roster right now. So it's definitely going to be a good match. And it should be pretty entertaining. Now on the other side, the SmackDown Women's Championship, you've got Carmella and Asuka. This one I'm expecting Asuka to win, but there has been a rumor flying around that James Ellsworth is going to be showing back up in WWE at Money in the Bank. So will he be back on Carmella's side to help her retain the title somehow? Is Asuka actually going to take her second loss on a singles match? Due to some kind of chicanery by Carmella and Ellsworth. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But, all things being considered, if it's a straight-up one-on-one match with no interference or anything like that, I definitely see Asuka coming out with the championship. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't put the title on her right now. So we'll have to see how that one comes out. Another match that actually has not gotten a whole lot of hype, which I'm kind of surprised, is Roman Reigns and Jinder Mahal. Now, I like both of these guys. I think they're both good in the ring. Roman and Jinder both, I don't think, get the respect that they deserve as far as being in-ring performers. I rarely see a bad match out of either. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen a bad match out of either of them, especially since Jinder came back after he left WWE for a couple of years. He's been on fire. He's been a great heel type character, playing that stereotypical foreign heel. I think he had a great run with the WWE Championship. I'd love to see him back in a title picture at some point, whether it's the Intercontinental title, the World title, whatever the case may be, or I should say the Universal title since he's on Raw. But so I think him and Roman are going to put on a pretty good match. And, of course, you're going to see, from Roman, you're going to see the Superman punches, you're going to see the spear, you're going to see the Samoan drops, and that's what so many people complain about. But, again, Roman is a great worker inside the ring, so is Jinder. And, of course, you got Sunil Singh running around outside the ring, so I'm sure he'll be involved at some point. As far as a winner in this one, I'm saying Roman most likely is going to go over, just because he, is still in that position to be built as the face of the company. And unfortunately, this thing with Jinder, I think, is just kind of filler for him until the next match with Brock is set up. And I gotta say, I'm pretty sure that Brock is going to drop the title to Roman at some point. Of course, then you have to factor in the Money in the Bank, which I'll get to in a little bit. But I do think that's going to have some kind of bearing on when Brock does lose the title, and very shortly thereafter. So we'll see how that one plays out. And of course, the SmackDown Tag Team title, we got the Bludgeon Brothers against the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson. I would love to see Gallows and Anderson come out with the titles on this one. Of course, this one's on the pre-show. The countdown show, but I'd love to see Gallows and Anderson get a run with the title. I mean, they had a run with the Raw tag titles for a little while, and then they just kind of, just kind of fell down the ladder, I guess you could say. So it's good to see them back in that position of, in line for a title shot. So I'm hoping, if they don't win the title, I'm hoping it's the beginning of a strong program with them and the Bludgeon Brothers, because that's definitely a rivalry that I can see playing out and working out very, very well, maybe trading the title back and forth a few times. Next match, of course, is Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn. This one, the build-up for this match has not been great. I don't think Bobby Lashley's been made to look strong enough against Sami Zayn. I mean, Lashley is, to me, on the same level as Brock Lesnar. Okay, he didn't fight in the UFC, he fought in Bellator, but he's undefeated in his last, I don't know how many MMA fights. He's got the background, he's got the history. He's been a world champion before in Impact, as well as in WWE with the ECW championships. So, I don't think he's been positioned quite right since he came back. Saw a little glimpse of his temper flaring with Sami Zayn over the last couple of weeks. I think we need to see more of that. Lashley needs to be portrayed as just a beast, exactly what he is. So, but again, it's Lashley and Sami Zayn. I cannot see this being a bad match. Sami Zayn is phenomenal inside the ring. So is Bobby Lashley. So throw out all the kind of lame build-up that it's had, and it's just going to be a good, solid match. I definitely see Lashley coming away the winner in this one. I can't see Zayn going over on him unless, again, there's some type of interference or something along those lines, or, some kind of underhanded tactics or what have you. So, but again, I think it's going to be a good, solid match. One match I'm really looking forward to on this card is Seth Rollins and Elias. I think Elias has improved so much since he's been brought up to Raw, and he is probably one of the best heels on the roster right now, because he's the same type of heel along the same lines as The Miz, to where, the fans love him. They, say his catchphrases and everything, but then he can bring them down like that right afterwards. They will go literally from cheering to booing him out of the building within a matter of seconds, and that to me is the mark of a good heel in the wrestling business nowadays. Like I said, along the same lines as The Miz, along the same lines as Eli Drake in Impact. So I'm real big on Elias, and again, he's great in the ring, he's great on the mic, and he can play the fans like not a lot of people can nowadays. Sorry about that, had to pause for a minute. But anyway, like I was saying, so yeah, I'm not really sure as far as the winner between Elias and Rollins. I could definitely see them putting the IC title on Elias for a little run. So yeah, this is definitely one I'm looking forward to. I'm kind of actually pulling for Elias to win this one. I'd like to see a title on him for a little while and see where they go with him. Another match I'm really not looking too much forward to, and I hate saying that, is Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass. I'm a huge fan of Daniel Bryan, not such a big fan of Big Cass. I mean, he, he's a great big guy, but he needs to play the big guy role. I think he tries to be kind of too funny, you know, in his promos and stuff like that. In the ring, you know, no complaints. He, you know, does all the big guy moves, you know, showing off his strength and his superiority over his opponents and things like that. So the match itself, I think, is going to be good. Again, the build up on this one hasn't been great. I just don't think it's a real strong rivalry between the two. But, you know, it's one of those things. It's they're not going to put Daniel Bryan directly into the title picture, you know, after just coming back from 3 years off. So this is kind of, you know, a launching pad for Daniel Bryan, I think, to get, you know, to the next level, maybe to the U.S. title or even the world title. Who knows? We'll have to see where it goes from here. So I think the match itself will be good. I'm not fond of the story behind it, but again, that's just my opinion. So now we get into the Money in the Bank ladder matches. Of course, with first of all the women's Money in the Bank match, and the 8 women in that are Ember Moon, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Lana, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. This one, I'm kind of up in the air. I'm not really sure what direction they're going to go with this, because I think a couple of these entrants are actually kind of surprises to me, like Lana and Natalya. I honestly expected to see possibly Bayley and maybe one of the Riot Squad or something like that in there. So you know, like maybe Ruby Riot or Sonya Deville. I know Sonya Deville's not in the Riot Squad, but you get my point. But so I'm thinking if it's not Charlotte that comes away with it, I kind of have a feeling it may be Natty. I think it may tie into the Raw Women's Championship match a little bit. You know, if Ronda comes away with that title and Natty comes away with the briefcase, I could definitely see them playing off of the friendship between these two and turning it into a rivalry. You know, kind of Natty screwing over Ronda. I mean, maybe Natty wins it tonight and cashes in tonight right after Ronda wins. You know, has a grueling match with Nia Jax. Here comes Natty and just kind of picks up the scraps and picks up the win and comes away with the title. I could definitely see it going that route, and then just, you know, that'd be Ronda's first big rivalry in WWE with Natalya. So, and I think it'd be a damn good rivalry too, because I mean, you know, there's not too many women that are better in the ring than Natty. And Ronda's, like I said, already proven that she can go in that ring. I mean, she's, you know, her first match was at WrestleMania and she killed it, and she's only going to get better. So I think a rivalry between those two would be outstanding. Or maybe somehow Natty interferes in the match and costs Ronda the match somehow. Maybe she decides to cash in and make it a triple threat and kind of screws Ronda that way. You know, so that's kind of my thought for the direction of the women's match. I'm thinking Natty's going to come away with the briefcase and is going to have some kind of impact on the women's title match. Of course, if the women's title match happens before the ladder match, then that's all out the window. But you know, that's my take right now. And finally, we have the men's Money in the Bank match with Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, The Miz, Rusev, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, and one member of the New Day. They still haven't said. Rumors going around is it's going to be Big E. He's going to get a little bit of a singles push. I don't think they're going to take him out of the New Day, because the New Day is still too hot to split them up like that. So, but I could see Big E getting into a title picture. You know, him becoming like the big singles guy, and then Kofi and Woods being the tag team guys. So I could definitely see that going, because you know, but truthfully, any one of those guys could make a good singles run, as long as they don't split up the entire unit. So, but my guess is Big E is going to be the one in the ladder match. As far as a winner for this one, it's kind of up in the air. There's a lot of talent in that ring. Kind of surprised that they put Bobby Roode in the match, but definitely a good surprise. I mean, Roode, I don't like Bobby Roode as a babyface. He is just a natural heel, and he is so good at it. It's what he was a majority of his time in Impact and also in NXT. So I'm hoping, you know, he'll make that switch sometime soon. I know everybody loves his entrance music and things like that, but Bobby Roode coming out smiling and shaking hands, it just doesn't look right to me. You know, I love Bobby Roode as a heel, so I'm hoping that they'll kind of take him down that path sooner rather than later. Another kind of surprise is Rusev, but I've been hearing, reading rumblings that he may start to get a little bit more of a push, kind of take him away from the, not really a comedy act, but away from the Rusev Day thing with Aiden English. So we'll have to see what happens with him. But I'm pretty much thinking Braun Strowman's going to come away with this. They built him up to be too much of a just unstoppable beast, and I can't see, unless they gang up on him 7-on-1 and somebody just kind of breaks away from the pack and sneaks up the ladder and grabs the briefcase, I don't see it really going too many other ways. I would, honestly, for me, I would love to see either Finn Balor or Samoa Joe come away with the briefcase, because I'd love to see both of them in a title picture, honestly. And if it's not Strowman, though, I think the next logical choice would be The Miz. Miz is another one that there's been a lot of rumblings about, that he's going to get pushed back into that world title picture. He held the Intercontinental title for quite a while, and he's probably the best heel on the roster right now. And it's been a while since we've had a good heel champion. Of course, Jinder I thought was a good heel champion. Brock, I don't consider a heel champion. Brock is an attraction. So, I won't even get into that right now. But, if it's not Strowman that comes away with it, then it's, in my opinion, it's going to be The Miz. And you could see him, same thing like I was saying with the women's match, depending on where the world title match is placed on the card, could see him possibly get involved in the match between AJ and Nakamura. I hope not, because I just want to see the two of them straight up in that last man standing match. But I think a rivalry with AJ and The Miz would be outstanding, or even with The Miz and Nakamura, either one. I mean, The Miz, like I said, is the best heel on the roster, so he definitely belongs in that title picture on SmackDown. And we'll have to see where it goes. But yeah, so those are my picks. I'm looking for Natalya in the women's ladder match, Strowman or Miz in the men's. Nia and Ronda Rousey is kind of up in the air for me. I could see it going either way. They're going to want to make both of them look strong. So it could end in a no contest. It could end with, Nia, sneaking away with one. Could end up with Ronda just kind of, coming out with a quick win. Not quick as in the match is going to be short, but, just kind of coming with a submission hold, an armbar or something out of nowhere, and winning like that. So that one's up in the air. SmackDown Women's title, I'm picking Asuka. Roman and Jinder, I'm definitely picking Roman. SmackDown tag titles, thinking probably the Bludgeon Brothers are going to come away retaining the title, but I hope that's the beginning of a rivalry and not just a one-off, because I think those two teams could have a real good long run. Lashley and Sami Zayn, of course, Lashley I think is going to come out on top. Elias and Rollins, I'm thinking Elias may come away with the title. That's my pick. And Daniel Bryan and Big Cass, I'm going to say Daniel Bryan. But Big Cass wouldn't be too big of a surprise in this one. Bryan won their last match, so Cass could come back with this one, and then you end up seeing one more match with them at the next pay-per-view. So those are my picks, my predictions. That's my take on the couple pay-per-views coming up this weekend. Like I said, I'm definitely looking for NXT to kind of steal the weekend from the main roster like they've been doing. Gargano and Ciampa, I think, is the one match I'm looking forward to the most this weekend, and kind of have a feeling Ciampa may come away with this one. Gargano got the last one. I think Ciampa may come away with it in the street fight, but again, this is one that could go either way, and I think either way the fans are going to be, nuts for this match. So that's pretty much all I got for this week. Like I said, hopefully I'll have some news coming up in the next few days about distributing the podcast to a little bit wider audience, and so hope you guys will pay attention for that, and I will talk to you guys soon.